you want to make that announcement to anybody who might be listening about?
Yeah. So anyone who's joining the meeting, if you would like to speak during public comment period, you can raise your hand. If you're calling in, to raise your hand, you dial *9. And to unmute yourself, you dial *6.
All right, this is, I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the Portsmouth Planning Board's unregularly scheduled meeting. It's been continued a couple of times for Wednesday, November 25th, 2020. First item on the agenda are agenda continuances and modifications. Okay, Mr. Olszynski says there are none, so we're going to move on. Next item on the agenda is item number 2, and that's the approval of our minutes for October 14, 2020. That was in the packet that was sent out to everybody. Has everybody had an opportunity to take a look at it?
Yes.
Yes.
How about the other board members?
This is
Yes.
Seth. I had a chance to look at it.
All right.
This is Ed. I looked at it.
Okay. Does anybody have any changes, continuances, modifications, typos, anything like that that they picked up? All right, hearing none, what's the pleasure of the board?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes for the October 14th meeting as written.
Because we don't have our stenographer,
Right.
I should say, this is Luke Harding.
Okay, yes, this is Luke Harding. And I'd like to make a motion that we accept the October 14th, 2020 meeting minutes as they are written.
Is there a second?
Ed Lope seconds.
I'm sorry, Ed Lopes,
Ed
second.
Lope seconds.
Thank you, Ed. Is there anybody else who wishes to be heard on this? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. We'll have to do a roll call. Luke Harding,
Yes.
Ed Lopes,
Yes.
Kathleen Wilson. You with us, Kathleen? We'll come back to you. David Garso,
Yes.
Seth Pilati.
Yes.
Are you there, Kathleen? What happened to Kathleen? Can't hear you, Kathleen.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes,
How do you vote on accepting the minutes?
I,
Okay, so that's unanimous, 6-0. The minutes are adopted. All right, moving on to item number 3. This is Macquarie Lane LLC. This is formerly known as Ferrer Farms. This is AP 48 Lot 35, and this is basically the approval of our the written approval that we already granted.
Right.
Looking at the decision for the final plan. That should have been in everybody's packet. Did everybody have an opportunity to take a look at that? Does anybody have any comments or changes or modifications that they wish to make? All right, hearing none, I will call for a vote. And I will do a roll call. Mr. Harding,
I approve.
Mr. Lopes,
Yay.
Kathleen Wilson,
I,
Mr. Garceau,
Aye.
Mr. Pilati.
Aye.
The chair also votes aye. So it's a unanimous 6-0. The decision is adopted. That brings us to item number 4 on our agenda. And that is the petition of Anthony and Betty Sylvia, sorry. AP 58 Lot 4 and 5. This is on 36 Clearview Avenue. They're looking for master plan approval and an advisory opinion to the zoning board to change lot lines between 2 non-conforming lots. Is there anybody here on that petition?
I am, Mr. Chairman, Court Chappelle on behalf of the petitioner.
Proceed, Mr. Chappelle.
I'm hoping you'll find this real easy. It's merely an administrative subdivision. We are not creating new lots. If you look at the plan in front of you, the lot line that dissects the two lots is now located very close to the house, which is on the west and the left side of your plan. And it runs through the existing deck and shed. When they explored putting a new septic system on the south side of the house, they first realized that they needed more room to get a 10-foot setback as required by DEM. They couldn't move that line without putting it into the sheds, and currently the sheds belong to the house. Betty Sylvia owns both the residential house and the pre-existing non-conforming commercial building that you see. The lot's already fenced, so despite where the lot lines are actually drawn in the field, the reality is you see the fence and the commercial property takes a smaller portion of the total land than the two lots together. In choosing where the land went, we did a fairly simple thing. We looked at the sheds in the back, one of which has a concrete foundation, and we measured 3.5 feet off of that shed, which is required to comply with zoning. So by going over the side to the side of the shed, the minimum amount, 3.5 feet, we comply and make this lot more conforming than it is today. We then basically just ran it parallel up to the street, which happens to solve the problem that the lot went through the deck and happens to give us more than 15 feet, which is required in the R10 district. So no zoning relief would be required. If both of these lots were conforming, this could have done administratively and we wouldn't be here. But technically, to move a lot, you can't make one lot less conforming than it is. And the house lot, although it'll be more conforming in that it'll meet setbacks, it's still, that lot will be more conforming. The business lot will be less conforming in that it will be, it'll be smaller than it is. So it really tries to straighten out. There'll be really no variances required other than the fact that we're modifying non-conforming lots. It requires your blessing and hopefully your recommendation that says we would have granted this if we could, if it wasn't affecting and creating non-conforming lots. And I think it's that easy.
Do you have anything else, Mr. Chappelle?
No, I believe that's all I have, but I certainly will answer any questions.
Does any member of the board have a question for Mr. Chappelle? I do. So I just want to be clear. Both lots as they exist right now are non-conforming?
They're non-conforming.
Without the requested variance, without the relief you're looking
Right.
for here.
The residential lot is non-conforming in that it's an R10 and it's only 8,000 or 6,500 square feet. It also is less conforming in that it is too close to the west lot line and that a lot line obviously runs through its deck.
Okay.
The commercial piece is conforming as to size because it exceeds 10,000 both before and after. It is non-conforming in that it's a business in a residential zone. It's been Tony's Auto, a transmission place, a marine supply. It's been a commercial as long as I recall, but it's non-conforming by use. I also believe that the east lot line is non-conforming in that it's less than 15 feet. Everything we're moving makes no lot more or less conforming as to the ordinance. It's just that they're pre-existing non-conforming. You can see where the lot is now.
They're already non-conforming.
They're already non-conforming.
We're not creating a non-conforming situation.
No,
by
and in my opinion,
that you're requesting.
that is correct. And there's a very good argument that you're making them substantially more conforming by not having a lot line through a deck. And
At least one of them.
at least one of them.
Well, let me ask you another question, Mr. Chappelle.
But by making the business one smaller, Mr. Chairman, understand that we're leaving it over 10,000 square feet. So we're not changing that conformity portion
Is
of
that an
it.
R10 or an R20?
It's,
It's
yeah,
an R20.
I thought it was R10 according to the,
Yeah, the only R10 is in the north.
Plan is incorrect. It's R20.
It's R20. So that's, I don't want to belabor that point.
But
Mr. Chappelle. I just.
they're still pre-existing.
Yeah, exactly. And so is this new boundary that you're creating, that there's already a fence there? Is that what you're saying?
Well, we actually drew the fence. We're gonna and I was gonna keep the existing fence line, but when you did, I didn't hold 3.5 feet. And I thought by moving that fence a foot further onto the business property, I could make it more conforming to zoning in general with that shed, which has a cement footing on it. If it was just a shed from BJ's, I would have just moved the shed 3 feet. But because that's a permanent structure shed, I moved that line. We're gonna relocate that fence that runs almost parallel to the new lot line on the new lot line.
Oh, I see. I got it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it actually makes sense because if you need a couple of feet to be able to service that building. If you
Right.
need to re-shingle it or roof it or whatever you gotta do.
Right.
Okay, I don't have any other questions. Anybody else on the board? Is there any member of the public who wishes to address this petition? Graziano?
Nope, everyone in the meeting is a panelist.
No one else has any questions? All right, what's the pleasure of the board on the petition?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the master plan, that we give a positive, by the way, it's Luke Harding. We want to approve the master plan and give a positive opinion to the zoning board to change the lot lines.
That's Mr. Harding.
Yep.
Is there a second?
second,
That's Ms. Wilson. Is there any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, can I say one thing?
I think you're ahead of the game, Mr. Chappelle, but go
Oh, I
ahead.
am. All I'm saying is, you can add to that motion if you so choose, that if the zoning board approves it, it can be done, that you can give your administrative officer authority to sign without getting back on your agenda.
That's up to the people who have made the motion and seconded it.
I'm not sure that
You're not sure that we can do that? I think that, I'm not sure either.
because it bumps if you have a variance on an administrative subdivision, it becomes a major subdivision. So you're supposed to have, it's the 3 reviews, so it's master plan, preliminary, and final.
Make it do them all at once.
You can merge the preliminary and final in the next step.
I'll be back then.
So there's a motion before us. Everybody understand the motion, I hope? I'm going to take a vote and we'll do it. I'll take the poll. Mr. Harding,
Aye.
Mr. Lopes,
Aye.
Ms. Wilson,
aye,
Mr. Garceau,
Aye.
Mr. Pilati.
Aye.
Chair also votes aye. It's passed 6-0. Good luck, Mr. Chappelle.
Thank you. I'll see you at the end of January, I believe.
That'll be January. Very
Have a
good.
wonderful holiday, everybody. And again, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's
Aye,
in the year of COVID, just getting through it is
I caught.
all you can expect.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so that takes care of item number 4 on the agenda. Number 5, we haven't had an election in a long time. So it's time to talk about the chair and the vice chair. And I don't know what the board wants to do on that. And that's really up to, I mean, if there's somebody who wants to throw their hat in the ring, let's hear it and let's do it. There's nothing sacrosanct about either Luke or I being in these positions. So what's the pleasure of the board?
I make a motion to cast a vote for Chairman Bissonnette to maintain the chair position. This is Ed Lopes.
Aye. Dave Garso, I would second that.
Are there any other nominations? I will be recusing myself from voting on myself. So there would have to be all 5.
Yes, so Luke Harding, I also think it's a great idea.
All right, so there is a motion and a second. I'll call the, I don't hear any other nominations, but we still need to call the roll. Mr. Harding,
Aye.
Mr. Lopes,
Aye.
Ms. Wilson,
aye,
Mr. Garceau,
Aye.
Mr. Pilati.
Aye, congratulations.
Well, I'm not sure they're due, but I will accept them. Okay, we have to deal with the vice chair position as well.
This,
Let's have
can I
votes
make a
again.
motion to nominate Mr. Harding? Is that how it works?
Yep, somebody has to nominate him.
I would like to make a motion to nominate him.
second,
And that is Mr. Pilati. Is there a second?
second, Kate Wilson,
Okay, are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. I assume you're going to be abstaining?
I will abstain.
Mr. Lopes,
Aye.
Ms. Wilson,
aye,
Mr. Garceau,
Aye.
Mr. Pilati.
Aye.
I also vote aye. Congratulations, I think.
I think so.
Okay, thanks, everybody. So we've got that out of the way and we're legal again. Last thing on our agenda is the monthly status report that we get from Leon. Is there anything
No, I don't-
interesting going on here?
I don't have anything to add to it.
Okay. What's your pleasure on the report?
I'll make a
to
motion.
accept it.
Great. I'll second Ed Lopes.
All right, so Ed seconded. Who was the motion to accept and put it on file?
Dave Garso.
Mr. Garceau, thank you. We have a motion before us. I'm going to call the roll. Mr. Harding,
Aye.
Mr. Lopes,
Aye.
Ms. Wilson,
aye,
Mr. Garceau,
Aye.
Mr. Pilati.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. I think that's it, folks. So let's have, just one thing before we go, a reminder that we don't have a meeting in December, so the next meeting will be in January, and it's the 13th. So just so that everybody knows. So is there a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, motion to adjourn.
Mr. Harding, is there a second?
second,
Ms. Wilson, and I assume everybody approves.
Aye.
Aye.
We don't need a voice vote on that. We could have a voice vote on that.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy
everybody.
Thanksgiving to everybody, and thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Good night.
This was a terrible night, but to have it, but we needed to get it out of the way. So thank you, everybody.
All right. Bye
Have
now.
a good Thanksgiving.
Bye.
You all set there, Mike?